It's the people who actually did it that are very important. And Roger, he did what he could, everybody did what they could, and together it was able to happen. But there were so many amazing people and dedicated people involved. It could never have happened, without all those people contributing. They were so dedicated, and so many people gave, they gave everything. They gave their money, they gave their life, they gave everything to make Matrimandir happen. I arrived in Auroville shortly after the mother had passed away. It was in 1974 that I came. And the first place I went was Matrimandir. I was so impressed with Matrimandir because it was out of place. It had no relevance to this peanut field on this barren plateau. And I understood why people said it's like something from outer space, and they were calling it a spaceship. Epicus always comes to me when I think of Matrimandir, and the time it took to build that thing, unbelievable. 37 years for one building. Many visitors wanted to work there, and they did, and people stayed for a few months or a few years. So thousands of people were involved in this story, and there were so many stories there. I believed in Mother's strategy that was to build Matrimandir first, because you can't build the city until you build Matrimandir, because the city needs a soul. So the question was, how do you build a soul? And she said, okay, all these people come here, they come from different cultures, how are they going to work together? The only way is to have a common project that is not part of their own thing, like building their own place. So if they're working for the community and they're working together, the Matrimandir, in its complication, will force them to work together, otherwise they won't be able to make it. They won't be able to get it together. So we had a wonderful winter when we had a monsoon, a very intense monsoon. So the whole foundation of Matrimandir filled with water. And then the walls were leaking water for the next 2 or 3 months because the water table was so high. So we were swimming in Matrimandir every day. So we would work, and then you could drop off the scaffolding down into this water. And after a few weeks, that water had become, clear. It was like a nice, cool lake. And that was a good time. The Matrimandir got closed down. We had this problem with the Sri Aurobindo Society, the big dispute, the big battle that happened, and it was law and order, and we had the Section 144, no more than 3 people could be together. So we couldn't go to and they surrounded Matrimandir with these militia policemen who had rifles with bayonets on the end. So to go over and turn off the water tank when it was overflowing, I had to do that. And this guy is chasing me with his bayonet, you get out. I said, no, the tank is overflowing. I'm just turning off the water. So finally he saw what was happening and he didn't stab me with his bayonet. But it was those were very difficult times, and many people thought the work on Matrimandir stopped. But we always went to the workshop and worked on the crane. And actually, we would go up with 3 people, but then later 3 more would come. And eventually they didn't keep a big mass guard there. It kept going down, because this went on for over a year. There was just maybe 6 or 8 policemen, and they sat in one shed and played cards. And they didn't look at anything, they didn't do anything. And so we just did what we needed to do. Lakshmi Narayan, instead of just chipping all these holes, and he made 3 symbols. Put the Auroville symbol in the middle, the mother symbol on one side, and Sri Aurobindo symbol on the other side. Perfectly beautiful sculptured symbols. And then we stuck the ramp against it and poured concrete over it. Nobody will ever see those. But every time I step over, I know they're there. The Matrimandir means many things. It depends on which level you go to. But I always see it as the soul of Auroville. I don't see it as a temple. I see it more as a cyclotron. It's a particle accelerator. It's an energy center. So energy is concentrated in the Matrimandir in order for anyone, any human being, because we're energetic bodies. So you take your energetic body in there, and so it aligns with that energy. And that energy is so strong that it will affect you. And I understand, intellectually that energy is there because, they say it's located on 2 ley lines. There's all the sacred geometry there. There is all that intentionality that every person who worked there put in there and tried to make, with their devotion. It's all packed in there. Because without a connection to that energy, we cannot build Auroville. That energy is what is needed to make the city and to hold it together. Because we have to hold together all of humanity. Human unity is the purpose of Auroville. Not a building, not a city, not a forest, none of that stuff. It is the human unity. And that human unity is embodied there. Because we need the Matrimandir to get through what's happening now. Because now Auroville is also in another crisis. Matrimandir, for me, is a key to that. Because when people line up with that energy, then they can work together, they can build the city. Because that was the point. So the future is that it will be more and more used by Aurovilliens, and also I think we have to keep it open to visitors, maybe world known already, I have no idea. But it is something so unique and so powerful. And every person on the planet deserves to experience it if they can.